you were dropped from the label, and they signed Kendrick Lamar.
I know you guys never heard of them, but I was going broke. Literally watching my Range Rover leave and go down the street. And they was like, would you come and serve at Tom Joyner's family reunion? I was like, you talking about Tom Joyner that's on radio?
Yeah, you wouldn't take a check.
Nah.
Why is that?
We're just in a world where everybody got to have a check with the opportunity,
yes.
but the opportunity of a lifetime may not come with a check. But when I was 7 is when I actually found out I was adopted. And it wasn't like this beautiful story like they have on TV.
Willie, I am literally like mind blown right now. Welcome to Vault Empowers Talk. So we don't just scratch the surface. We dive deep into the lives of some of the world's most influential thought leaders and change makers. I'm your host, Brandy Harvey. But before I introduce my guest for today, I need you to go ahead. I need you to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss your daily dose of inspiration and motivation. But without further ado, I get to introduce my friend who is sitting next to me, Willie Moore Jr. He is a radio veteran. With a career spanning over 20 years, Willie has mastered the art of communication. As the host of the top-rated, nationally syndicated Willie Moore Jr. show, Willie has the ear of over 2 million listeners each and every week. His guests have included Barack and Michelle Obama, Bishop T.D. Jakes, and Hillary Clinton, just to name a few. Outside of entertainment, Willie Moore Jr. is an advocate for adoption and foster care. As the president of the Will Flow Foundation Incorporated, Willie brings awareness to the adoption and foster care system through school programs, scholarship for foster children, faith-based multimedia films, and television shows, along with his signature event, the Day of the A, Adoption. As the host of the Love You More podcast, Willie creates conversations about the road to loving yourself and so much more. Vault Empowers Talks. Welcome master storyteller, radio personality, speaker, film producer, television host, adoption advocate, father, and friend, Willie Moore Jr. to the show. What's up?
Oh my God. Let me tell you something. Can you go wherever I go?
You know, they tell me that all the time.
I promise. I was about to say, who in the heck is she talking about? But no, thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
It is a pleasure. This is not our first time. Thank you.
You look amazing. I've been knowing you for a while.
Yeah.
And, I like what we got going on.
Thank you.
The energy is real.
Thank you. Yeah, sure. I appreciate that. I'm glad that you're here. We go back. We got some history, you know. I've been on your show before many moons ago, you know, and you are really doing your thing. But this has like been a real journey for you of over 20 years.
Yes.
To get here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it has been a journey, but I always just believe that a small step is still a step. So like a lot of people get the, you know, the big jolt of energy that comes out the sky. It's like, whoa, we hit it big.
Yeah.
I think God was he was so good to me to allow me to grow into what I needed to be. Because sometimes you get these platforms that your character can't necessarily sustain. And so, I mean, he knew there was a lot of things that I wanted that I have now that I wanted when I was about 22. But I would have messed all that up.
22, was this the Pretty Willie days?
Yeah. Fresh out of college, went to the University of Mississippi. Crazy thing, my son is actually about to graduate from the University of Mississippi.
First of all, I remember when he went off to school. Like, that's crazy. When he graduated, all the things. I mean, the little one, when he was like, you know, 3.
Yes, and they're growing. So I was just at Black Alumni, had to speak at the University of Mississippi this past week, and I'm looking out in the audience, and I realized, wait a minute, my son is about to graduate. Wow. So I say it, I get kind of teary-eyed, and then the Noops, all the Kappas, they over to the side, they like, he better not cry. He cry over everything. I'm such a mushball. But, you know, fresh out of college, I was running track. And it was this guy that, you know, some people know, some people don't. His name's Nelly. You probably never heard of him. But, you know, Nelly has this really huge deal in St. Louis.
Yeah.
He has this record called Country Grammar.
Yeah.
He's the biggest thing in the United States of America and abroad. I'm the biggest thing in St. Louis with a song called Roll With Me. So I get a record deal fresh out of college. I'm super hood rich. I got about $250,000 at like 22.
Yeah.
Oh, I think 20.
Oh, you balling.
Oh, $250,000.
You balling.
So I figure I should have bought real estate, but I bought a Hummer.
You bought a chain.
I had me a chain. I'm talking about my chain had big. You remember G-Unit with the little spinner?
The spinner.
I had a spinner too.
Yeah.
And you know, I bought my mama a Cadillac that proved that I didn't have to finish college.
Wow.
I did.
All with $250,000.
Yeah. You know, I was like, hey, come on, get her that, get that. But you know, I was always a club and party promoter.
Yeah.
So $250,000 turned a party into a extravaganza. So I was still like able to do that entrepreneurship thing while I was doing that. And so music for me was just always a love. And so I ended up signing a $1.2 million deal with Universal, fresh out of the University of Mississippi. My mama didn't want me to leave college. But once I signed that deal, she was like, hell, that boy done did something with his life. Hell, if we trying to get to the money, the boy got some money, you know. And so, you know, it was a really good run. Nelly sold about 30 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sold like 30 total. That's all I sold. So,
listen, you know, St. Louis had the early 2000s on chokehold. I think we all was trying to get a little taste of St. Louis.
Come on. And the record labels were too.
Yeah.
I had to become an entrepreneur thanks to MySpace. We had about 25 million hits, and I had this song called Lay Your Body Down and Good Thing, and I went out and leveraged a deal with Warner Brothers with Tom Wally, and you know, just worked that circuit.
I need you to go ahead and rewind that, because there's some people it's some people in the room here who did not know what a MySpace was. Okay. Yeah. Listen, and you had 25 million hits on MySpace. Yeah. This was beyond viral during that time. Because you were on 106 in Park.
106 in Park. 25 million on MySpace, but I was doing it all independently. So, you know, we took that whole Master P thing and just took it to a whole other level. Yeah. So, you know, we're making good money, we're running, but I just always believe, you know, the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. Like, that's just always been my thing. Like, I grew up with an ex-sharecropper. My dad, he 92 or 93, depending on which day it is. He's suffering with a little dementia. He's like, hell, I'm 93. I thought you were 92 yesterday, you know. But I just always had this grit and this grind. And so when I went out to LA, I was just ready to leverage a deal. And, you know, we were able to win. Lay Your Body Down took off.
Yeah, it did. Pretty Willie was a whole thing.
Come on. You see it? I'm still trying to hold on to handsome to the best of my ability, but the kids took all the pretty.
They took all the pretty.
The kids took all the pretty. Them the prettiest boys and girls I ever seen.
Listen, they are. You have a very, very handsome family. Yeah. But I think you still holding. You know, you a Kappa too, so you know how y'all really got this, you know, thing about vanity just a little bit.
She have to go to the Bible. She's like, it's vanity. I was like, we prefer grooming, but no.
You well groomed, so we got all that. But you said that in one of your recent interviews, you said that, you know, part of your work ethic was because you had these older parents.
Yeah.
And because they were older, they adopted you when you were 7 years old. Mm-hmm. Because they were older, they kind of told you had to like work at an accelerated pace because they weren't always going to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, they actually adopted me when I was 3 months old. But when I was 7 is when I actually found out I was adopted. And it wasn't like this beautiful story like they have on TV. You know, on TV, maybe the parents sit you down.
Yeah.
And we have a conversation. I grew up in the neighborhood. They started making fun of me, just saying, I don't mess with adopted kids. And so I'm singing along with
the kids are saying that.
I don't mess with adopted kids. And I'm like 7, so I'm like, I don't mess with adopted kids. I'm like dancing too until Laura Ann, her eyes dropped and her shoulders dropped. And she looked and she said, Willie, we actually talking about you.
Oh, no.
And so, you know, the one thing I've always been able to do, I don't know, it's just something in me. I have the innate ability to not let things affect me in the moment. I know how to like slow it down. So I played it off. But when I came in and I asked my mom, after telling her what the young lady said, you know, she later told me that I was adopted. And that was like a blow. It was like one of the biggest blows of my life. I can remember being 7 years old and just thinking like, did everybody else know? Like, everybody else knew? Was I the only one that didn't know? And I asked my father, I said, you know, am I a dog? And he was like, a dog? Why would you say you a dog? And I was like, that's the only thing I ever seen on television to ever be adopted.
Wow.
And
wow.
And he bent down because I've been the same size since I was like 7.
Okay.
Praise the Lord. And he bent down, he looked me in the eyes, and he said, no, you're not a dog, you're my son, and you chosen. He said, you see all these damn kids out here running around? Their parents were some of their parents was real surprised when they got pregnant. If you want to be honest, they probably didn't even want all them kids. You know all them kids running down there? He said, but when we got you, we knew exactly what we wanted. We knew exactly what we had to do to get you. So you were chosen, you were picked, and you were picked for us. And, you know, since that moment, like I've always walked in any room and I always felt like I was chosen. I never felt less than. But, you know, it's one thing. My dad is like 50 when they adopted me. My mom was in her 40s, you know, and my parents were always older. And so I remember my dad, to make me do my schoolwork, I think he was attempting to do a good thing, but it really made me work a little harder, and I'm still moving at a real fast pace. I really need to slow down sometime. But he said, listen, we don't know how long we're going to be here. So you better get your ass in there and get that education and do what you need to do. Because here, you know, if we gone, the only thing going to last is education. They were ex-sharecroppers. They weren't educated people. But when he said that, I just, you know, I have smaller children now. Like through therapy, I realized how that affected how fast I move, how fast I get over things, you know, and just how quickly I was moving. And so, you know, even now in, you know, my 40s, I'm looking at it like, okay, I really need to slow up a little bit and kind of enjoy the moment because I've never really taken the time to enjoy life. It's always going to the next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said, though, that even in going to the next thing, you were so committed to this becoming an artist.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're really a creative anyway. You're an artist still to this day.
Yeah.
But there was at one point you said, God, if it's not for me, take it away from me.
Yeah, that was the Warner Brother deal.
And 2 weeks later, you were dropped from the label, and they signed some random rapper named...
Yeah, his name's like J-Rock and this other guy named
Kendrick Lamar.
I know you guys never heard of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like we about to blow up. I got this song called Love in the Daytime with this dude named Darrell Babs, a.k.a. Tank. It's starting to blow up in the city of L.A. I'm living in L.A., opening up for DJ Quick, this other rapper who's really gangster, and he never smiled. His name was Game. He was really scary, too. I was like, ooh, you a real blood. I'm not that. You know what I mean? And so we're opening up for them, and... like, to be honest, I started going to church. If I can just be quite honest, like I was getting into some habits that, you know, kind of worked against what my primary foundational principles were. And I was like, bro, we need to go to church. And it was one night we was about to go to the club. And they were like, oh, okay, we about to go to the club. I was like, yeah, but after this, we going to church. And they was like, every time he started smoking, he turned into Kurt Franklin. You know what I'm saying? Like, blood always turned into Kurt Franklin. But, you know, I made some strong positions. I've always had leadership qualities. Yeah. And I said, you know, if we can't do that, then we can't do this. You know, when my eyebrows go down, people kind of understand I'm not playing. I got to work on that. I'm trying to be better. But we ended up going to church, and to be honest, I got more than I bargained for. I wasn't this guy who was trying to be this faith-based guy. I'm from the neighborhood, St. Louis, Missouri. Median income $17,000. I done seen it all. Like I come from a place where you better know what you're doing, or they gonna know what you're doing. You know what I mean? But I went to church, and I just got more than I bargained for, and I felt the love of God in a way that mama didn't tell me about, grandmama didn't tell me about, and it was something that I wanted to feel again. So I stayed true to it, and I said that prayer. I was like, God, if this is not what you want me to do, crazy prayer. Don't say it unless you mean it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
This is not what you want in my life.
Yeah,
take it away. And he took it away. I still left with a few dollars. Shout out to Naeem Ali for allowing us to get the money out the fund. I was able to start my life again in St. Louis.
Okay, so you leave. You are feeling like, what did you want to do at that point?
It was always music.
Yeah.
To be honest, music was my God. Like, that was the thing that I always wanted to do ever since I seen Michael Jackson. When Michael Jackson hit that moonwalk, I don't know if y'all remember Michael Jackson hit the moonwalk for the first time. I seen that in real time.
Wasn't that at like the Motown? That was at the
VMAs or something.
Okay.
American Music Awards.
Okay.
He hit that moonwalk, and I seen my mama scream. I said, oh, that's what I need to do with it. That is what I'm called to.
Yeah.
And so you singing on the playground, you doing studio work ever since you was 12 years old. I got my first record deal at 12.
Wow.
So, you know, my initial debate was, okay, even though I've switched in my heart, maybe I now do music for God. And so now we have this thing called Young Fly and Save, and we doing music across the country. People are getting saved and loving God and having a really, really good time. But I was going broke. Like, literally watching my Range Rover leave and go down the street because it's on a flatbed. Yeah. You know, looking at this mortgage not being able to pay, and that I couldn't pay. And at the time, I had a wife, a mother of my child, and 2 children. And so I'm like, God, you mean to tell me, like, I do all this for you, and I'm now losing everything? Yeah. And I just had a strong faith that I needed to see what was on the other side. Because if I find a new way to do this, there will be a lot more people who will follow my lead. Like, if there's a new pathway in the neighborhood, like if it's not basketball, if it's not music, what if it's faith? And now I don't have to lead people to myself. I can lead them to the guy who's now leading me, which takes the pressure off of me. Yeah. But I didn't know he was going to break me down to the brake pads. And then he said, come to Atlanta. I was on my way back to LA. He said, come to Atlanta. And when I say he said, it means that it was a pastor. He was preaching, Baptist pastor, Dr. F. James Clark, baritone voice. That boy said, he said, some of you are looking for the breakthrough. And I was like, you talking right.
He on my street.
He said, but the thing is, you have to have a giant to slay and a king to serve. I was like, what? I don't know what he meant.
Yeah.
But and then he broke it down. He said that there has to be a giant to slay, and I knew that was this generation. They didn't need to hear it the way he was doing it. They needed the way that the Lord was putting it in me. And the king to serve was Canton Jones, a gospel artist who was not in L.A. He was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So now I got to go back and tell all my family who thinks I'm on the way to L.A. that God said I'm going to Atlanta.
So you got this vision to go serve under Kenton Jones.
Yeah, go serve him.
He did not know you.
He knew me from like music. I was doing music.
Okay.
But I'm the man in St. Louis. He the man in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a king going to serve another king.
Yeah.
He was actually confused when I came down and said, I don't mind carrying your bags. He was like, bruh, really? I was like, yeah. He just said, I got to come serve you. And I ended up helping his kingdom business with the music business being my thing that I knew. Like I was able to take that album, Kingdom Business, too, to a level that he hadn't seen before. So I just kind of became his manager at that time as well as his assistant.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I feel like you've always had your hand, even now with radio and what you're able to do, you've always had your hand in breaking artists, like, you know, these unknowns.
Yeah.
And there were these 3 unknown artists that people didn't know about.
Yeah.
You and Phil Thornton talked about this.
Yeah.
That the record label wanted to drop them.
Yeah.
And nobody knows them. Nobody's going to want to hear them. Yeah. Jonathan McReynolds.
Yeah, some guy named Jonathan
Travis
McReynolds.
Green.
Never heard of
Like,
him.
these are people that you really were advocating for to play their music.
Yeah. Shout out to Big Med, the producer. He was my producer at the time, and me and him would sit there. Him and I, we would sit there. And we would hear, like, all of this great music, but then we would sit on music calls, and it was, like, the same old, same old.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know, everybody in some companies are really afraid to make decisions, strong decisions. And I'm not afraid of anything. Like my dad, like I done seen everything that it could be. So I'm never afraid to tell the truth. And I was just like, you know, a lot of this stuff, because I love God still cuss a little bit, pray for me.
Oh, I do too.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just said, like, why the hell do we keep playing, you know what I'm saying, the same thing? And Big Med, he was just a strong advocate when we played this guy named Travis Green. I know this audience is abroad, but he's an amazing gospel inspirational artist that just didn't have a place. And I remember when we played this record the first time, it wasn't even available for people to listen to it online.
Oh, wow.
They're like, oh, you done took off on the record? I said, I sure did. It's a hit. What are we doing? You know, and, you know, I thank God now that the inspirational format is filled with a kaleidoscope of different people and all of that. But I'm an advocate for the artist because I was an artist that didn't get the fair shot.
Yeah, you said you saw yourself. You saw Pretty Willie in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw that in them. But you didn't just, like, fall into radio, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to do an audition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got my first radio opportunity with a call from Tiff Green. She's an amazing program director there in St. Louis at the time. And Nelly was about to come out with a radio show on 95.5. And I'm the biggest thing in St. Louis behind Nelly.
Wasn't that like Lunatic Radio or something?
Lunatic Radio. They was like, well, we need something to combat it.
Yeah.
And they was like, yo, would you consider doing radio? I was like, I never done radio. And but I'll come in and do it. They gave me a piece of paper and I was like, your number one station for hip hop and R&B is 100.3 the beat. And they was like, perfect. I was like, that was not perfect. You guys are way too kind. But we ended up having the number one show there. We called it Pretty Radio. I wouldn't take a check at that particular time.
You wouldn't take a check?
Nah.
Why is that?
Some people want to check too quick.
Ooh, wait a minute. Say it louder for the people in the back.
Yeah, some people want to check way too quick.
Yeah.
Like you come in with no experience and you want people to pay you top dollar.
Yeah.
Like, as I said, my foundation is built with like strong parents who believed in the power of serving. Everything don't come with a check.
Yeah.
Like people remember you when you come in and serve their vision, sometimes for free. There's a time for check. Like Brandy might not be the person that's paying me, but when people around see the integrity. Like, I've served Radio 1. Like, to be honest, I don't really need that check like that no more. You know what I mean? The Lord has blessed me in so many other ways, but I still serve Kathy Hughes' vision the way you're supposed to. The greatest among us will serve. I got here off service alone.
Yes.
Like, and so, like, for me, as it pertained to, like, radio, I just wouldn't take a check. They was like, well, we have to pay you something. I was like, just don't touch my playlist. Because if you don't touch my playlist, now I have the freedom to make the radio show sound exactly the way I need it. I want to DJ. I want to do this. And, you know, I was like, it's 40, 80, you know, whatever that little money is. I can do better with just going out doing my own thing. I've always had this independent mindset. Ended up having the #1 show there, and then I put it down.
Yeah.
And then Dwight made me pick it back up, and it was cool when I moved into the inspirational space.
Yeah, you moved into the inspirational space, and that was over 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy, 10 years.
How was that transition? How were you received when you first got on inspirational radio?
I was probably not received at all. And they was like, who in the hell is on this radio sounding like he's 13 years old? You know, they thought I was like a 20-year-old kid who knew nothing, you know? But I remember going into the, I remember when one of the young ladies, because I was doing video vlogging on YouTube, and it just got the attention. I kept going viral. Like I was kind of the Kev on stage, if you would, but just with inspirational messages during that time. And they was like, would you come and serve at Tom Joyner's family reunion? I was like, you talking about Tom Joyner that's on radio?
Yeah.
I was like, sure, I'll come and serve. Never asked for a check. It's like I don't know why, like I really feel led. Like we're just in a world where everybody got to have a check with the opportunity, but the opportunity of a lifetime may not come with a check. So I go there and serve, but they took care of my accommodation. You know, and I was like, okay, cool. But whatever they asked me to do, if it was in my power, I would do it with excellence. Can you host this? Cool. Don't you do comedy? Sure, I do comedy. Give it here. I would get up there, tell stories, people would laugh. I was like, man, I'm Eddie Murphy. You hear me? And kept serving. And so when the opportunity presented itself on syndicated radio, it was like, isn't it? You remember the guy who helped us on the boat? And the guy who helped us at the family reunion? I hear he does radio. Here's the catch-22. I was serving Dwight Stone without a check. He had a vision for the praise mixdown. He's like, would you be a part of it and bring your comedic edge to what I do? I was like, sure, no problem. Still no check. Served that. We did that every week in a closet in St. Louis.
Wow.
That service and that service met each other. They said, don't you have a radio show? I was like, no, I do a little comedy on the White's thing. They said, can you send me an air check? I called the White and I said, they want something called like an air check. He was like, for what? I was like, they got like a syndicated or some show. A syndicated show? I don't know what syndication is.
Wow.
He was like, I'm going to put something together for you quickly. I said, they said they want it within the hour. He had it in 20 minutes. I send it off to them. They give me an audition. I'm the last person to audition. First day, because it's inspirational, I tried to be a little bit more proper than I should. I tried to say scripture. I know I had it all wrong. And then I prayed that night. I was like, God, how do we accomplish this correctly? And the Lord told me, I like you. In fact, I love you. Like, don't do them. Don't put on a shield or armor that don't fit you.
Isn't that the hardest thing, though, for some people when they're starting out to really understand, though? Is to not put on somebody else's armor, to not be like, I got to do it like them. That was hard. Like, I seen what gospel and inspirational radio was, and everybody was so proper and prim, and they know how to do church.
Come on, somebody.
Amen.
And I was like, hell, I don't know that. We went to church on Sunday. That's all. You know, some people's story is we went on Monday and
Wednesday.
I go a lot now because, you know, I just need it. And I like the environment. That's my culture. I enjoy church. Shout out to Word of Faith Family Cathedral.
Oh, you're over at Bishop Bronner.
Yes, my brother.
That's why he was over on your show.
My pastor, but he's been with me now for 10 years. So crazy. But you know, I didn't know. And I went in, I was myself. I cried on the last break. I said, I don't know if I'll ever get the opportunity again to speak to you. But my prayer is that you have heard something to know that your kid's going to be okay. I said, I want to end the show by telling you my goal, if this is my show. I want to show parents how to tuck their children in that night, how to let them know that God got them through the night and he going to have them in the morning and joy is going to come. Like I was telling them what I wanted to do. I was casting vision. And they told me that everybody in the company heard that break. And they had never heard somebody cast a vision in an audition.
Wow.
And the Bible says that without a vision, like people will perish, right? And so I had a vision for a format that could perish if the vision wasn't strong. And I was like, okay, whatever happens, happen. I was like, did we get 10,000 new followers on social media? They was like, we got like 6,200. I was like, dang, we almost hit the goal. Didn't think anything else about it. I went in, this guy named John Maxwell that many people know. He invited me to come out to speak because I also speak. He invited me out to speak at one of his leadership conferences.
I love this story. I heard this story go, yes.
Yeah, John called, his team called and was like, hey, we want you to come and we're going to play one of your videos, make a video, then make an appearance. I was like, all right, cool. I still ain't asked for no check. Check ain't came yet.
Do you feel like you just weren't in the mindset of money at that point?
I was broke.
Okay.
Like I was living in a 600 square foot apartment after leaving my house being foreclosed on. I got 2 children. Money always been a thing. But I just knew that everybody in the opportunity want the money.
Yeah.
It's hard to even hire good people because they're going to give you an invoice before you even know what they can do. We don't even know if we fit each other.
Absolutely. 1,000%.
Like, I can't spend that. You got to give me 90 days to even know. So, and it messes up. And my daddy told me, he said, son, you're a smart boy. You're a good looking boy. But I need you to go to Atlanta, and I don't need you to be none of that. I need you to go down there and play dumb as hell. I said, play dumb? Stupid. Relearn everything that you thought you knew.
Yeah.
Because if you go down there and you know it all, people going to be intimidated by you. So you go down there, and you play stupid, and you serve as many people as you can.
Yeah.
Don't ask for no hot damn check. Check going to run people off. Because you with a check, you probably look better, know better, and all that other stuff. He said, God going to give you a check when it's time, man.
Yeah.
And he gave me a checkbook with $25,000. It was an open checkbook. He took $25,000 out of his house. I only spent $700 out of that, and I paid their house off in 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That just gave me chills.
Yep. So, that one got me.
Yeah.
But I ended up doing this John Maxwell thing. Still didn't know if it was a check attached to it. They paid for the videos. But then when I was leaving, I hugged John, and his guy went in his he went in his little pouch, his little suit jacket.
Yeah.
Because I even came in there wrong. They was like, man, I thought you were gonna wear your flat bill. Like that's what they call ball caps.
Okay.
I was like, what the hell is a flat bill?
Yeah.
But I had on my suit and trying to be something else. He gave me an envelope, and that check was so big for 5 minutes. So I just started cleaning everybody's table. I was like, y'all gonna eat that? Because I can throw that away for you. Because I thought I had robbed John Maxwell there. But I forgot that their ministry is just a giving ministry.
Yeah, yeah.
And on that day, I got the call. They was like, hey, I want to tell you. I think Kelly or someone called. And she said, I'm not supposed to tell you, but you got the you got the job. I was like, a job? She's like, the audition you did,
wow.
You got the job. So I get on the phone with HR. Because I ain't never had no job.
A real job,
Had no real job in my
yeah.
life. We always was hustling and shows and parties and all that.
Yeah.
That lady was like, well, how many days do you think you want off? By now I'm a Christian. I'm like, 40 days, 40 nights. That's all I need. Jesus did it, so I know I can get it. And, it's been a really great relationship with Urban One. And me and Kathy Hughes has just become a really, really great mom to me. She teaches me a lot.
Yeah.
And people like, she like you? I was like, yeah, because I'm just real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Intimidation breeds intimidation. Love breeds love. So, I ain't really afraid of nothing. So
yeah, you don't really have the hang-ups anymore, you said. Nah. One of your interviews you said, and I don't want to miss this because I thought this was so good. I told you before we sat down, I said, this was a bar. Hurts, habits, and hang-ups. The ground at the cross is level for everyone.
Yeah.
And I feel like you walk in that. You embody that every single day. Every time you turn on the microphone to get on that radio, it's that the ground at the cross is level for every single person.
Yeah. Sometimes religion has become so kind of shunning to people who have different issues.
Yeah, yeah.
And people are attempting to live up to a standard that the people are trying to make you live up that standard. They ain't living that standard.
Yeah.
And so what I always say is, man, we all a work in progress. I'm not saying that that's a license for you to go out there and do just whatever you want to do, but I just know that it's a process. I didn't get here overnight. I done made mistakes, horrible mistakes. Like I probably should have been kicked out the faith every 2 weeks because I was just about to slap somebody last week. And maybe what's today? That might have been yesterday, but I'm just saying.
All of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I don't believe that faith should be based solely on your behavior. Like we get so caught up on what we don't do. Well, I don't drink no more, and I don't smoke no more. Well, I don't do this no more. Yeah. And I'm like, so what the hell you do?
Yeah, you got something.
Like what? Like, but what are you doing to advance the kingdom? Like you can't go in certain places because you're not strong enough. That's your walk. That's not my walk.
Yeah.
So if you see me with Trey and them, and you see me with Nelly and them, and you see me with them, it's just like, oh, what are you doing with them? I'm like, they know who I am. I was just in the studio with Nelly in January. Like, we supposed to have been listening to some music. We talked for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And just sitting there, and, everybody had whatever else they was going on. I was just on my water. Like, I don't have to be influenced by what they doing. Like, I'm here to influence the influential. Yeah. Like, my light gonna shine in any room that I go to, and I am not afraid to be in any room. That's not everybody's call. Don't follow Willie. Follow me as I follow him.
Yeah.
So you got to be following him to know what rooms you supposed to be in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because you grew up, you knew your other set of parents. You
Never knew 'em.
you found your other set of parents, right?
2020.
And so you talked about like really understanding what's in your bloodline.
Yeah.
And there are certain things that are in your bloodline, womanizing, alcoholism, even divorce, are things that you have had to recognize within yourself to really bring forth a better version of yourself.
Yeah, that's real. So 2020, I never met anybody in my biological family.
Wow.
Like,
2020.
To 2020, I knew, like, if my mom would have walked down the hallway and hugged me and kissed me, I would have said, "Woman, who are you?" And I, at that time, I'm married. What are you doing? And in 2020, 2018, I went to the Capitol in the United States, and all the senators across the United States were there. I was hosting, and I ended up meeting the senator there, Roy Blunt. And I told my adoption story because I went across the country telling them my pain. In January 6, 2009, they found my biological mother, but she refused to meet me. Everybody be like, oh.
Because that was your story.
That's my story.
Yeah.
And I was like, but it doesn't matter who refuses you or rejects you. Listen, it took me to Ethiopia, took me to Haiti, took me all around the United States. Adoption agencies are paying me a mint to come in and share one of the most amazing stories that the world has ever heard. And like, he's so strong. My God, I could have. And then God in 2020 changes the whole story. I said, now God, look, you messing the money up. Like, come on, we messing it up. But in 2020, thanks to the executive in my foundation, they thought that it would be good for me to have my birth certificate. Because Roy Blunt, after meeting me and glory to God, he realized that the state of Missouri was a state that was locked. You couldn't get your birth certificate unless your biological parents said it was okay.
Oh, wow.
But I'm thinking she did, because that's what I heard, that my mom had passed on. So I get my birth certificate and I open it up. I dropped it like a hot potato. I was like, I thought this was something for my mama. And I get my birth certificate and I go to see what my name is. I'm thinking like Buford or something. That would be terrible. I'm like too short and cute for Buford or something, right? And like Jason or something. I was like, no disrespect to any Jason, but I just didn't feel like I was a Jason.
Yeah.
So this whole time I'm thinking about names that I could have been, and I get my birth certificate only to find that I don't have a name.
So your mother never named you?
No.
Wow.
So you mean to tell me you promoted me to adoption, but you did not give me a name?
Wow.
My flesh is like scum of the, like I'm really left over. But the glory of the Lord said, I needed Willie to name you. Willie J, you Willie Moore Jr. I make people say Junior because if I ever become half the man that my 93-year-old father is, I'm going to be one hell of a man.
Yeah.
He was supposed to name me, but I do see her name. Her name is Katrina Walton. And I'm like, at least I know her name, but I think she's dead. Because the adoption agency told me that she had some health challenges when she refused to meet me at that time. And she said, well, she probably gone. So I'd already buried her in therapy, in counseling.
Wow.
I wrote a letter to the mother that I'd never met. Our therapist.
Yeah. You got to write the letter.
I wrote the letter. I said goodbye, and I did it on a plane to LA. And I was like, okay, I'm building, only to find out that she's still alive. And I got a biological brother, and I meet my biological brother. Long story short, he lets me know that my mother is still alive. I walk in, I meet him that day. The next day, he calls me and says, you want to go meet mama? I was like, hell no, I want to go meet mama. I done met you. That's all I need. I don't need a bogo.
So this is your first time talking to him on the phone, and then the next day, you wanna go meet mom.
So I called him when Huey died. Baby Huey, pop, lock, and drop it. Hey, pop, lock, and drop it. So I was just with Huey the day that he passed. I was in St. Louis. I told you I'm from the neighborhood. A lot of this corporate stuff make people think that I'm still not in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
When I go to St. Louis, I'm still in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Love is love. Respect. I'm respected in every neighborhood, not because I'm a tough guy, but because success is success everywhere you go. So I'm sitting there with baby Huey. I walk in, he's like, no, nigga, I'm so proud of you. And then he joned on me, like, you still a Smurf. You never grew, bro. And I was like, boy, you swallowed the Ford Festiva. We joning, like, because his stomach is now big. Yeah. He's like, that's that baller stomach.
Yeah.
And we laugh, we exchange numbers. And then I'm on my way back to St. Louis. At that particular time, for some reason, I drove. Sometimes I like driving. It's cathartic for me. And about 4 o'clock that morning, they called me and was like, Huey's dead. And I was like, Huey, what? I just seen Huey.
Yeah.
So I'm calling Huey's phone. He just gave me the number. And nobody's answering. I'm like, this could be true. And then social media hits. I go under Huey's post, because that's what you do when somebody dies.
Yeah.
You go just see what their last picture was. And everybody's like, man, sorry to hear. But I see the guy That's my brother, Tony.
In the post?
In the post.
On Instagram?
On Instagram. So
my God.
So I post one because I already knew who he was. I had been stalking him for a couple months so I can get my life together. I knew who he was. He didn't know who I was.
He just didn't know you. Wow.
He was following me already. So, you know, when you click somebody's page, it say
follow back. Yeah.
I couldn't follow back because I was like, and I'm looking, I'm like, dang, this is my brother. Like, he's bigger than me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, he fun and dancing. He's a workout guy. He's coach, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, that's my brother.
Wow.
So I post Huey, and he gets under my post and was like, bro, I know that's hard. He used bro.
So
and
you're already
I'm like,
oh, God.
I'm like, well, bro. I get in his inbox, and I walk, and I say, Lord, I'm going to do it today. Like, I'm going to meet him today. Like, I'm going to talk to him today. And I go in his inbox, and I say, hey, good brother, I would love to speak with you about some things. If you don't mind, I would love to FaceTime you. Could you send your number? He goes to his wife at the time and says, Willie Moore Jr. want to talk to me. His wife at the time was like, he probably just wants to pray with you because of Huey. He knows that you all were friends. He was a role manager for Huey.
Wow. So, I mean, y'all are really like
close and don't know each other.
Yeah.
I get on the phone, and I'd already been rejected, seemingly so, that my mom had rejected me in 2009. So I don't stop talking. I won't let him say anything. I'm just getting my spiel like, hey, what's going on? Okay. I was like, well, I'm going to get right to it. I was adopted when I was da-da-da-da-da, and da-da-da-da-da-da, and they found the paperwork and this, that, another, da-da-da-da-da, and I think you my brother. He says, I probably am, man. My daddy got a lot of kids. My daddy got a lot of kids. And I said, well, no, it's your mother. Is your mom named Katrina? And I seen him kind of bow up like, now my mom ain't never had no more kids. She never even had a boyfriend in my presence. He got married once. Like, he was defending his mom. I was like, well, I started reading what the paper said. They give you some information in adoption with no names.
Yeah.
I was like, well, they say it's this, this, and this. And he was like, yeah, I know who that is. He started giving the names to the descriptions of what they gave me. Oh, that's Uncle what's his name? Oh, that's Uncle Weasel. And then his face was like confused. And he looked and he said, I'm going to get answers. And I have answers. I know just who to ask. I have answers by the morning. And he called me and he was like, I called mama. And it's true. I went in. I was like, you got to tell me the truth. And she said, she sat down and she said, yes, I did have another son. I never seen him. And they just took him away from me. And she cried and he called me back. He was like, you my brother. You my damn brother, you know. And it was like, Pretty Willie, my damn brother, you know what I mean?
So what is your age difference? Like
16 months.
Wow.
Yeah, she was 17 when she had him, 19 when she had me. She was a teenage mother. She only had one man that she had ever been with. We share the same dad, same father.
So he was the firstborn.
He's the firstborn. And
then you came and she was like, I can't do this.
They tried to get her. I come from a family where it's ratchet, righteous, all at the same time.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of well-to-do people that are in our family. And Mama Katrina comes from a family where, I don't know if you're familiar with Jesse Hill. He walks side by side with Martin Luther King.
Yes.
Many of you guys in Atlanta, y'all get off on the street. That's my uncle. And so they got a lot of ways to try to keep our family name good. And so they took her to a few places for abortions, but every time she went in, she said the Spirit of the Lord would always make her deny it. Like I said, it won't work.
Willie, I am literally like mind blown right now. Wow.
Yeah. So she tried to get one in St. Louis, but she was like, no, it just didn't work. Then they took her to a prestigious college that I care not to say, because that's where a lot of the young girls would have to go when they were a little further along. A very amazing Ivy League college, but it's a lot of secrets in that college that I'll tell in the book one day. And they took her to that Ivy League college because our family's blessed. And she went in and she stayed in the lobby for a while because, of course, they just let her go in. She's 19. And she came out and said they couldn't do it. And so she finished the pregnancy. She wore baggy clothes and she had me. They never let her see me or whatever. And she just prayed for me. And when I walked in the room, my brother, when I met him I met him and I'm crying. He's crying. I'm not crying. I was like a tough guy then before therapy. And Then the next day, I'm in the gym after meeting him. It's already emotional. And he says, you want to go meet mama? I was like, hell no, I don't want to go meet no mama. I just met you. Hell, I'm still trying to get my life together. I'm trying to process.
Yeah.
And I called my dad, Willie J, my forever father. And I said, Daddy. He said, what? I said, my brother want me to go meet my mama. He said, okay, talk to me when you get here. Because he from Mississippi. He love God, still country as hell. And so I walk in, I said, Dad. He said, well, I'm going to go with you. I'll go down there with you. I was like, well, I don't want to do it. He's like, no, you need to go see your mama. Hell, you wake up dead tomorrow, you'll be mad as a mother if you ain't go meet your mama. I was like, you right. So we ended up sitting down, taking a nap, because that's what we do in the Moore home when you with my daddy, waiting on mama.
Yeah.
We took a nap. He woke up, and it's about 6 o'clock. You know, it's close to 6 o'clock. That's what time Tony's supposed to pick me up. It's my biological brother. And my daddy says, he wake up, he said, son. I said, what's up, man? You about ready to go? He said, yeah, but I ain't gonna go with you. I said, well, why ain't you gonna go with me? I'm like a kid, because I'm nervous. I'm finna meet my biological mama for the first time.
Yeah.
And he, you know, we got the recliner, so he got on up. And he said, you know, this will be the first time that woman will ever be in the room with her son and her other son. I think she need to have that moment just with her son.
Wow.
But here's the thing. I'll be right here when you get back. I'll be waiting for you. But you just go and let that woman have that moment with her baby.
Wow.
And I said, all right, cool. So I ended up going. First thing she said, I was like, hi. That's all I could say.
Yeah.
And she was like, I said, you're such a pretty woman. She said, you are too. I was like, I'm a boy. But we just shared that moment, and she apologized. She said, I never seen you. I never touched you.
So she never knew who you became to be.
She didn't know at all.
Wow.
And she said, your name is Willie. I said, yes. She said, my dad's name is Willie. That's your grandfather, Willie Walton. So I was named after my grandfather. And I was also named after
your father.
Forever father. Later we find out, you know, my forever mother, her birthday's January the 12th. I celebrated her every year of my life, only to find out when I met my biological mother that her birthday is January the 12th.
Shut up.
Yeah, so I celebrate them both.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. You talk about God in the mix, okay? Yeah. God is all up and through this.
Yeah, and they're now best friends. My mother and my mother. So I got two mothers who talk more than I talk to my mom.
Wow.
Yeah,
since like 2020.
Since 2020, they have literally talked at least 5 days out of 7 every day. I mean, every week.
Wow.
Yeah. And so,
how has that been for you?
After getting over the Hallmark part of it all, like, dang, God, that was dope.
Yeah.
Like, you really got your hand on it. My homeboy Bizzle, shout out to Bizzle, he's an amazing Christian artist. He said, N-word, God really loved you. Yeah. Like that, like, bruh, like I don't even cry, but that was crazy, you know what I mean? But after getting over it and then finally understanding, like for everybody else, it was beautiful. For me, it was the moment was beautiful. But now I no longer get an opportunity to live in my imagination.
Yeah.
I imagined all this.
Yeah.
Everybody in this room, most of y'all have the foundation of who you are, and you build from a foundation of truth.
Yeah.
I built from a foundation of imagination. No disrespect to my mother and father, but they were two housekeepers. They did custodial work. I know that's not what I really wanted to do. I had bigger dreams, goals, and aspirations. Honored them for keeping a roof over my head, but I lived in an imagination so I could become what I become. So now I have this, oh my God, now Lisa, and Kojam is not my mama. Tyler Perry can't be my brother because I now know who it is. But as an adoptee, that's what I think. Yeah. Like I could see you, like I could see Brandy Harvey and be like, Steve might have had a. Yeah. I could have. So I always, any country I would go to, when I was in Ethiopia, I was finding people who looked like me. Yeah. I'm like, I would look at her like, look at her eyebrows. We might be cut. Like I would never say it, but I had this imagination.
Searching for identity.
Yeah. So I'm looking for it, but now I see the identity, and now I got to look. The next day, the week after that, I end up meeting my biological father. Like he's still there. My brother and my brother, we got the same mama, same daddy. I got 7 other siblings.
So are they still together?
No.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
They broke up after I was the reason kind of for the breakup. I got another sister who was in the stomach when I was in the stomach.
Okay.
Yeah. So me and her, we got the same. Her birthday, I think my birthday, December, she in October or something like that. I don't know what it was, but like we was in the stomach at the same time, slapping 5s, right? Okay. So that kind of broke them up to my knowledge. But now I got to deal with this reality of who I really am. And so I had to go to therapy. Like, I don't really want to do nothing. Not to mention in the midst of all of that, now I'm a totally different person and I'm making hard decisions in my relationship.
Yeah.
Now my house messed up.
Yeah.
Cause now I'm not the same guy. I done been in therapy for 3 years now. You ain't been. So now I'm walking in and realizing that all of this for me was a facade.
So it was some tremors going through your entire life.
Like I found my biological family. Everybody links together, and seemingly so, because nothing's broken in our family. I lose my family, because I filed for divorce.
All in 2020.
I left in 2020. I filed in 2021.
Wow.
I took a year off just to make sure. I left the home.
Yeah.
And had to go through that.
So it was a lot of things being uprooted.
Yes.
In your life.
Yeah, same time.
Yeah.
It was the craziest time of my life.
Yeah. So how have you been able to find some sort of balance in this? I mean, really, with the tremors that have happened, the aftermath of the earthquake, how have you been able to find some balance between you finding your biological family, then you going through a divorce, that whole separation? What has that balance been like?
Yeah, so honestly, I'm still going through that process. I'm so much better. I will say that, like, I'm free. But I was like, I was like, God, can I get a break? And now I got these new borders and boundaries. I'm not living in my codependency because I suffered through codependency. Because of adoption, I wanted everybody to be okay. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm not okay. And so I started to stand up for myself. And now I have new borders. If I can't call my biological mama every day, then that's fine. I'm going to call her every week. If I can't talk to my brother every day, then I'm going to do my best when I can.
Yeah.
My children, even had strong borders with them. Daddy can't just run over to that house. Like I said, borders, for myself. And I've learned to live in my borders, and I've learned to make everybody adjust. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you said though that when you were in therapy, your wife wasn't in therapy.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so I can imagine that definitely puts a wedge in a relationship, because if you all aren't going to any type of counseling together, you're not doing your work on your own, that could be really hard.
Yeah, no doubt. And, in her defense, I'm going to therapy and still doing Lord knows what on the side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just being honest. Like, I'm a man. I'm going through all of this stuff. I'm trying to find my love in lust. I'm trying to find my love in alcohol. I'm trying to find my love in everything but the truth. Like, I'm running from myself.
So these were like your coping, how you were coping.
Yeah, I'm coping with, I just need somebody. Or I need wine every night.
Yeah.
And, thank the Lord. Like, I don't need, like, once I found out that some people in my family suffer from alcoholism, we got to cut it.
Yeah.
Like, when I realized that womanizing is something that played a role in a lot of men's life in my bloodline, then I cut it off.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of times we spend our life chasing the goal, dream, and aspirations, but we never know what's chasing us. Now that I know what's chasing me, I know how to make sure it never catches me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you trying to catch yourself in this season? What are you trying to go after?
In this season,
yeah,
I ain't going after nothing. I'm just attracting everything that comes my way.
I know that's right.
Like, I become what I'm supposed to be. So I get the calls from Brandy Harvey. I get the calls from Pfizer. I get the calls from Red Bull. I get the calls from these different companies. I'm in place. Like, I believe in Jesus and science. I'm vibrating at a frequency that requires people to come. I'm attracting what's for me. And I get a chance to say, I don't want that one. I'll take that one. Like, as Christians, we live below the line, striving to get something. But as a kingdom kid who's the son of a father who's a king, he's the King of kings and Lord of lords. That doesn't mean that little K I don't have. I'm king too. And so kings get opportunities to come. So I don't chase anything. There's some things that I want to do. There's some fillers that we may put out, but I'm not chasing anything.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's a flow state.
Yeah.
And I think that's when we get into that mindset that I can attract it, that it can come to me, that it can flow to me. I don't have to force nothing.
Not at all.
Life really does open up.
I promise you it opens up. I'm so in awe.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a fan. Like, I used to, like, preach Jesus. Now I'm a fan of Jesus. So it ain't even that deep. I'm like, just look at me.
Listen.
I'm from St. Louis. It's so different than just going strictly from the word. I'm like, look at how my life was set up, and every time I tell my story, like, when I look in the crowd, you can see people like, I ain't really believe like him, but that was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a metaphysical.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a metaphysical. And I've heard you, even in some of your interviews, you interjected, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like you know with who to interject it with a little more so. So I think you do kind of know how to tread in that water.
Yeah.
With that type of consciousness. Yeah. So It's been good to watch. Yeah,
And
really
listen,
good.
I honestly, when I look at people like you and even the opportunities that you have, and to see like a person like you knowing your foundation, knowing what it is, like for you to even jump in this water and do it on a high level, it says like, no, I have something to say.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not my father. I'm not my mother. I'm not, like, I know that I'm curious about some things that most people aren't curious about. And it just takes bravery and courage.
Yeah.
So I honor you for saying, okay, it's not a passing the torch. I'm building my own torch.
I'm so glad you recognize that. Yeah. Because most people think that you're not trying to fill shoes.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I got stilettos. He got on. You know what I'm saying? She like, I got stilettos, baby. I ain't trying to feel no cold hands or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Listen.
Yeah.
So I know as we close out this interview, this is really, such an amazing conversation. I have really, really enjoyed you. One word you are committed to in this season of your life.
Finishing. I gotta finish. Yeah.
Take me further in that.
A lot of times, because I have so many great ideas, I'll try to staff it and just watch it fly. But what I'm learning now is that I don't want to outrun the pace of God's grace.
Yeah.
So if He has me in the lane of doing a show, Love You More, then I'm gonna be all in to Love You More, and I'm going to attract everything else. So I'm not like breaking my focus on whatever it is. Like, if it's gonna come out, it's gonna come out of this lane until it's finished. A lot of times we have so many different irons in the fire. Don't get me wrong, we got real estate going on and stuff that don't require dreams. It's just data. But as it pertains to a dream, I am going to finish this thing. I have a time, I have a date, I have a target, I have a team, and we're ready to win. So I'm so focused here. And so what I feel like the Lord has called me to do in this season is just finish. I want to see what this finish line looks like, and I'm going to live it out through the good, the bad. Like, we over the honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
It was cute. Like, we did 600,000 hits. Yeah, we hit a couple juggernauts. But now, let's not worry about hits. Let's curate great conversations that whenever people come to it, it's going to be life-changing and meaningful. Like, I'm not looking at numbers. So my word for the year is finish. And maybe there's somebody on the other side of the camera, because of the babies, because of the bull crap, because of the hurt, because of the hang-ups, because of the issues, you've seemingly believed that you can start something and not finish it. But I realize my children are watching. I realize that people are watching. I realize that my 93-year-old daddy, although he's living a great life, there's some more wins that he needs to see his son win. He needs to see, like, wait a minute, you did what? Because he just gets more proud. And last but not least, I gotta finish for me.
Yeah.
I'm finishing because I love me.
Yeah.
Like, I really love me.
Yeah.
Like, I like all parts of me. I like bald head me.
Yeah.
Hat me.
Yeah.
African going me. Tight t-shirt me. Little bitty pants me. Baggy pants me.
Yeah.
I like all versions of who I am.
Yeah.
And so I just have to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finish.
I gotta finish.
That's a good one. Actually, I really have to say, Willie, I feel like in watching you over the years and listening to you, the maturity of you, like how you have matured in your walk. And this is not to say, we all have moments where we're immature or whatever, but I feel like for you to sit here with you and to have sat across from you before, like to see the maturity, the depth of which you're willing to take yourself in your life and how you're really to expand yourself and grow, it is evident. It is evident. It is all over you. Yeah. And so I just want to tell you, like, it is so beautiful to watch.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I always hold my heart.
It is. It's really, really beautiful to watch. Because I know with all the things that happen, right? We get hit with a lot of different things. You've been hit with a lot in your life over the last couple of years. And especially with the divorce and, all the changes that happen with that. Yeah. You've still managed to still be your authentic self, but to grow through this, man, you're doing it.
Man, I appreciate it. I can never be this without that.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna give God the credit for all the great things, I'm definitely not gonna give somebody else the credit for all the bad things. He was aware of it all before I got here.
Yeah.
And so I just had to keep living, and I'm gonna keep on living. And it's only gonna get bigger and better.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Willie Moore Jr., thank you for joining us today. Vault Empowers Talks, that's another good one for the books. Until next time, I'm your girl, Brandy Harvey. Be sure to subscribe, eat well, give a damn, move your body every single day. Peace.